I'm going to do a quick little talk. We recommend vitamin K because it prevents neonatal hemorrhagic disease. We recommend vaccines because they prevent serious infections. The very first vaccine that a newborn can get, and we recommend, is hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a terrible infection that damages the liver and can cause liver cancer. The chances of you getting hepatitis B seem like they're very low because we don't see as much disease. And like all vaccinations, they are a victim of their own success. The reason why we don't see hepatitis B is because it used to be way more common because we didn't vaccinate routinely. So we have this medication that prevents a terrible disease that can cause cancer. And yes, you can get it as young as a newborn because mom could have an infection that they could share to the baby. We call that vertical transmission. The baby could get a blood transfusion. We don't see that as much anymore because we screen the blood for hepatitis B and C. The baby can be bit later on in life by another child that might have the virus. There's so many risks. Then later in life, the infant is a young adult. They can be exposed to hepatitis B either through intimate contact or infected or contaminated needles. So the lifetime risk is there. The reason why we don't see as much and why people question whether we should give the vaccine in the first place is because there's less disease burden. But the disease never stopped being bad. In other countries, it's still an issue. In other countries that don't have as good vaccination, you can go to those and see that there's major issues of liver disease, cirrhosis, liver cancer, liver transplant, and then eventual death because you'll wait to get your transplant and you won't make it. So that's the reason. Now, what's the safety? In 18 plus years, over 20 years of being involved in giving hepatitis B vaccine, I have never seen an adverse reaction in a newborn. It's incredibly safe. That's why we give it to newborns. The initial recommendation was to wait till 2 months, and then shortly into my training, we started giving the newborn dose. So that is a relatively new thing, but it's also the one that parents are the most hesitant and anxious about, is that first shot to the newborn. Is it safe? And yes, it's perfectly safe. I'm responsible for thousands, probably tens of thousands of doses of hepatitis B given to newborns. So the chance of an adverse reaction is there, but it's like 1 in 10 million. I will probably go my entire career, a 30-year plus career as a pediatrician, and I will never see a reaction. It would take a room full of pediatricians to describe an adverse reaction to hepatitis B vaccine. So 1 in 10 million versus taking your chances with hepatitis B in a world where more and more people are refusing the vaccine because they don't understand that we don't see the disease because the vaccine is working. So, for parents, I reassure them I've never seen an adverse reaction. I reassure them that hepatitis B is more concerning than any adverse reaction because they're so rare, and that the vaccine is working so well. That's why we don't see hepatitis B as much anymore in mothers and newborns. So I hope that helps. We just want parents to be informed. We understand that you can read on the internet and quickly become scared by what people say that's misinformation. It's not aluminum. It's not, some other ingredient. You have to remember these vaccines are in a syringe that's this thick, and it's 0.5 ml. So in that teeny tiny amount of water, there's not enough quote unquote toxins to make anybody sick. I mean, I could take 100 vaccines and there's not enough toxins in those to make me sick. I'd have to take 1 million vaccines before anything in a vaccine would be toxic to me. There was actually a person in Europe that purposely took over 100 vaccines just to show that how safe they are. But yes, if you break down the individual ingredients, they sound scary. But if you realize that they're so tiny that there's no harm, that's the key thing. So just remember, it's so much worse to get an infection or take a chance of getting an infection than to just prevent it. And keep in mind, like, we don't question car seats and seat belts and all those things like we do vaccines. There's a 1 in 95 chance that in your lifetime you could die in a car accident in the United States. That's pretty significant. That's over 1% chance in your lifetime you could die in a car accident. So just keep that in mind. I mean, there's worse things. The disease is worse, 1,000 to 1,000,000 times worse. And why take that chance? And we have trained for decades, and we really care about your children, and we have their best interest. There's no hypocrisy here. It's just 300 years of medical science that is on our side, and decades of experience for some of us.